Hello, this is Brooke Foged, Curriculum Developer with Reading Horizons. In this tutorial, I'll cover the different types of assessments that students will encounter in the Reading Horizons Discovery software. To learn how to access the reports for each of these assessments, watch the Reports tutorial. There are 7 phonemic awareness assessments: rhyming, syllable count, initial sound, blending, final sound, medial sound, and segmentation. These 7 assessments are given at the very beginning of every track. The kindergarten track will get the instruction portion of each assessment first, followed by the test portion. Tracks 1 through 3 will get the test portion first, and then, if the student's score is less than 67%, the instruction portion will be given. The phonemic awareness assessments are given only one time and are intended to highlight to the teacher areas in which the student may need additional instruction or intervention. The student starts the first assessment simply by clicking the Next button in the clubhouse. The students are instructed that they will be asked some questions and are told how to submit their answers. In the case of the rhyming assessment, the student is shown a main picture and 3 button pictures and is instructed to select the button picture that rhymes with the main picture. For example, the students see the main picture of a ring and 3 button pictures of a snake, a king, and a jet. The narrator says, "This is snake, king, and jet. Click on the picture that rhymes with ring." When the students select a button, the word is read to them again. When they feel that they have selected the correct image, they press the Next button to submit their answer, and they move on to the next rhyming challenge. The students are not shown a score at the end of the assessment, but they do receive 5 coins for completing each of the 7 assessments. So when they're finished, they have 35 coins in their treasure trove. This assessment is automatically administered to the students at the beginning of every chapter and once more at the end of each track. Our list of most common words is correlated to Fry's word list. For tracks 1 through 3, we have the first 300 most common words that are divided into 22 lists. For the kindergarten track, we have the first 30 most common words that are divided into 8 lists. The test is administered and functions as follows. The student is made aware that there will be 3 options shown on the screen. The narrator will say one of those words, and the student must then identify the correct word before the 6-second timer runs out. The student presses the arrow button to begin. The student is given each word from list 1, one at a time, then each subsequent list. Because this is a rapid recognition assessment, the first word the student clicks on is submitted as the answer. There is no submit button on this test. If the 6-second timer runs out, the assessment is paused, that word is counted as being wrong, and the student must press the arrow button to resume the assessment and receive the next word. The assessment can be terminated in 2 ways. 1, if the student gets 40% or fewer correct on any given word list, the assessment will be terminated. 2, if the student identifies the wrong word 3 times in a row, the assessment will be terminated. The assessment continues as long as neither of these conditions is met. When the assessment ends or is terminated, the students will be shown the lists for which they were tested. Each list will show 1, 2, or 3 stars to visually indicate how they did on that list. Each list with a green check mark indicates that the list was passed off and the most common word lesson will be overridden. A red X indicates that the list was not passed off. The lists with green check marks will not be included in the next MCW assessment. Administrators can set the minimum required passing percentage on the Students' Options tab in the Administration portal. This passing percentage is the score required in order to bypass the list in the lesson sequence. It is also the score required for the individual most common word lessons. The most common word assessment is very dynamic and prescriptive. Each subsequent time the assessment is given, the lists that were passed off in previous attempts are not included in the assessment. If the student passes off all 22 word lists, or 8 word lists for kindergarten track, then the assessment is not given again, and all the most common word lessons are overridden if they have not already been taken. The spelling and word recognition assessments are always given together. The combined score of the two is used to prescribe what the student receives in the software. These assessments are automatically administered to the students at the beginning of the software and at the end of every second chapter. The only exception is for the kindergarten track, in which the student gets these assessments only once at the end of the track. There are 35 words per list, and the lists are always administered in the same order, 1 through 35. The words from List 1 are closely correlated with the words from List 2 to ensure that they contain the same skill features. The test is administered and functions as follows. The students are made aware that they are going to take a spelling test, that they will use their keyboard to spell each word, and that they can correct the spelling of each word before it is submitted. The students press the arrow button to begin the test. The narrator reads the word, uses it in a context sentence, and repeats the word again. Using the keyboard, the students spell the word. If mistakes are made, they can be corrected prior to submission. The students submit the word by pressing the arrow button. When the students submit a word, the software awards points based on the following. Whole word features. For example, the word is treated. If the student spells treat correctly, then they receive points for a whole word. Skill features. For example, the word is check. The software is looking for the digraph CH as well as the correct ending, CK. Points are received for each of these features. The student is then given the next word in the list. The assessment is terminated when a student does not score any points for 3 words in a row. When the assessment is over, the students will see the spelling list with each word spelled correctly. Each word that was spelled correctly will have a green check mark next to it, and each word that was spelled incorrectly will have a red X next to it. The students will press the arrow button to move on to the next assessment, word recognition. The same list that was used for the spelling assessment will be used in the word recognition assessment. The test is administered and functions as follows. The students are made aware that there will be 3 options shown on the screen. The narrator will say one of those words, and the students must then identify the correct word before the 6-second timer expires. The students press the arrow button to begin. The students are given each word from the list one at a time. Because this is a rapid recognition test, the first word the students click on is submitted as the answer. There is no submit button on this test. If the 6-second timer runs out, that word is counted as being wrong, and the students must press the arrow button for the next word. If the students miss 3 in a row, the test will be terminated. At the end of the test, the student will be shown the list of words. Those that were correctly identified will have a green check mark next to them. Those that were not will have a red X. The Reading Horizons Discovery Reading Assessment, powered by the Lexile Framework for Reading, is purchased as an add-on in the Reading Horizons Discovery software. Once it has been purchased, you will have the option to assign the assessment to your students through the administration system of the software. The assessment can be assigned to each student 3 times during the school year. You can assign the reading assessment to 1 or more students through the Class Roles section of the administration portal. Select the students to whom you want to assign the assessment. Then click the Edit Students button. Click the Student Options switch to see each of the student options. Scroll down to the section titled Lesson Settings and click the switch next to Assign RHD Reading Assessment. Check the box and click Save at the bottom of the screen. If you need to reset the reading assessment for a student, simply go back to the Edit Students menu and assign the assessment again. This will clear the score and give the same version of the test again.